A call to action for Japan and the Pacific Ocean. Hi, I'm Kimberly Reed, and I have a passion that I'd like to share with you, and perhaps maybe you'll join my passion as well when you hear the whole story. So stay with me. The Pacific Ocean is the largest and deepest ocean basin on the entire planet. It covers a huge amount of our Earth, and it is suffering right now. And I'd like for you to help me with that because the Pacific Ocean actually is a large source of food for us people, and there's a big food chain going on in there as well. So that's part of the issue, but there's also some bigger things going on. So stay with me. There was a disaster and a whole lot of aftermath in the last 5 years since the big earthquake, tsunami, and nuclear meltdown in Fukushima in Japan, March 11, 2011. So this is a picture of the Fukushima nuclear power plant blowing up and having a huge meltdown and subsequently putting radiation, lots of radiation, nuclear waste into the Pacific Ocean. The measured levels of radioactivity off Fukushima are still elevated 5 years later. They're between 10 and 100 times higher than off the U.S. West Coast today, though the West Coast is showing some of that. The effort to determine the amount of radioactivity materials is still being released in the ocean, and it is ongoing. This is a quote by a researcher, a well-known researcher in regards to the Fukushima disaster, and he said that levels today off Japan are thousands of times lower than during the first peak release in 2011. That said, finding values that are still elevated off Fukushima confirms that there is continued release from the plant. Here's another one from CNBC, exactly 5 years after the disaster. 5 years after the accident at the Fukushima nuclear plant in Japan, some scientists continued to find small amounts of radioactive material along the west coast of North America, and some of them say we should expect to see this in the ocean for decades to come. Elevated levels found off the coast of Japan show that the situation is not yet under control and that the facility is still leaking radiation. Wow. This is also affecting the people of Japan very greatly. Not just, obviously Japan is getting a lot of issues from the disaster, but as I said early on in this presentation, this is an issue that does affect the entire globe, and it does affect the entire food chain as radiation is still leaking into the sea. So the people, the wonderful, humble, honorable people of Japan. Fukushima's disaster created 150,000 nuclear refugees. These are refugees specific to the nuclear event, not just from the tsunami, but specifically from the nuclear event. People were forced to evacuate their homes for tiny makeshift shelters many kilometers away from their homes. Thousands of refugees are still in temporary housing after 5 years of waiting of what will be decided on the remains of the homes that they own. Can you imagine being displaced from your beloved home for 5 years? That's not great. Even worse, there are several thousand people that were never found. This little girl, Yuna Kimura, was declared missing after the tsunami. Her father lost not only his beloved daughter, but also his wife and father. Thankfully, though, his wife and father's remains were found, but little Yuna was never found. I just want to put a face to this disaster. These are real people that are still hurting 5 years later. So what's the solution? I believe that for every problem, there is a solution. If we just put our heads together and tackle this as a group instead of just tackling as one small individual. But even one individual can make a difference. We know that's true as well. So let's seek out a solution. I've been thinking about this for a long time, ever since it happened, and my heart went out to the Japanese people. And when I found out recently that that was still leaking, I was like, we've got to do something. And I woke up one morning and I was like, whoa, that's a great idea. So are you ready? Let me share it with you. Okay. It comes in two parts. The first part is meditation. I remember hearing about this a while back, that groups would come together and meditate with a specific intention of peace for a specific city, and crime would go down. It was documented, scientifically documented, that crime rates were reduced. That is the power of meditation in a group setting. Now, it doesn't have to be all sitting together chanting Om in a yoga studio somewhere all together. We can do this even though distance may separate us. Maybe we're even in different time zones, in different states, in different countries. It doesn't matter. If we come together with a specific intention and we do it together, then we can make a difference. I believe that. Will you have a little faith with me and believe it too? Let's try. All right, part two. Part two, lots of water on the earth. Half of it is water. We call it the blue planet. That's why. Our bodies are also comprised of lots and lots of water. So this gentleman, this doctor, he said that water represents the interface between the fourth dimension in which we live physically and the fifth dimension sphere of our souls. Many studies have shown subtle effects of healers upon hydrogen bonding and infrared absorption of water. None of these scientific studies can compare, though, with the beauty and clear images shown by Dr. Emoto's elegant work. The impact of thought and beauty has never before been demonstrated so well. And he's talking about Dr. Masaru Emoto's work called The Hidden Messages in Water. If you're not familiar with it, it's pretty interesting. Dr. Emoto believed he wanted to find out if you put an intention towards something, if it shifted the energy at all. So what he did was he would get water samples from different sources and he would mark the container with different words. For instance, love and gratitude, peace, Hitler, Nazi concentration camp stuff. If the water was what would change if it was around music, Mozart versus acid rock. He did all of these different studies. He also had people go to each of those and give energy and thought, intention to those based on what they were labeled, like love and gratitude or hate or whatever. And each time there was a different type of crystal created. Obviously, you just couldn't see it with your naked eye, but it under, triple thousand magnification, these crystals appeared. And some of them were very beautiful, and some of them were really ugly. Can you figure out which was which when compared love and gratitude versus Hitler or hate? Yeah, pretty simple to figure out. So I'm going to show you an example of what love and gratitude looks like. So this is what love and gratitude look like under that big microscope that Dr. Emoto used. Pretty, isn't it? Very pretty. This reminds me of snowflakes. I live in Alaska, West Coast, affected by the Pacific waters that are hurting right now. And in Alaska, we get snow. And in my backyard, there's a lot of snow still, even in April. And you may have heard this before, but each snowflake is a different crystal. It has a little subtle difference in each and every one of them. And sometimes I'm honored to see those when they fall on me, and I can actually see the little details in those snowflakes. And that's what this reminds me of. Beautiful little snowflakes, just another form of water, right? So we can set the intention towards water and create these beautiful crystals. Or we can continue to ignore the situation that's happening in the Pacific Ocean and other oceans around the world for that matter, but very specifically for Japan and the Pacific Ocean. We can ignore it and allow ugly crystals to propagate. Or we can come together with meditation and this intention as a group, and we can make a difference. So, 3 easy steps to my proposal. Step 1 of 3. Set a daily time on your smartphone or with an alarm clock or whatever, just to remind you. Maybe set it for a minute or two before you're ready to get started so that you can finish up whatever you're working on. You can start at maybe 11:11 a.m., 11:11 p.m., twice a day, once a day. Doesn't matter. Just set a routine to do it for a specific amount of time, whatever feels right for you, maybe for the remaining days of the month or longer if you choose. But every single day, repeat at the same time in your time zone and for a specific length of time and how many days, weeks, months that you are willing to help the Pacific Ocean and the Japanese people out. Step 2. And we have a guided meditation that we are creating to help you with step 2. You're going to breathe deeply a few times, deeply and slowly, inhaling and exhaling to get yourself centered. I recommend doing at least 3 deep, slow breaths to get yourself centered. And then begin thinking of a time where you felt deeply loved. You felt compassion, you felt peace, you felt comfort. And maybe that was all in one singular moment or 4 different ones. You can make a movie montage, but I want you to juice up those wonderful, loving feelings. And then begin radiating those feelings from your heart towards the Pacific Ocean and the Japanese people. And as you radiate them out, put a big smile on your face and imagine their faces, the Japanese people and all of the life in the ocean smiling as well. So the dolphins are smiling, the whales are smiling, all the fishies, all the plankton, everybody's smiling, happy and smiling. That is the intention I want you to set in motion with me. You can do that, right? It's pretty easy. And then finally, step 3, sharing is caring. When you find out something good, you want to share it with your friends, right? Well, how great would this be to make an impact, a global impact, not just on the Japanese people, the Pacific Ocean and all of that teeming with life, but also on our food. I mean, if we start getting fish out of there that are highly irradiated, that's not good for anybody either. So let's come together. The more the merrier. Everybody loves a party, right? So let's make this a fun party and share this proposal with your entire tribe via social media, email, whatever method, at church maybe. Maybe you want to show this video there. Whatever feels right in your heart to share. So share and share often, and let's get the word out and make a difference. I want to show you what let's do it looks like versus do it. This is Dr. Emoto's work as well, and what a difference in the crystals of water when we come together with an intention of let us come together and do it. That's what that means. So, can we? I think we can. I know we can. Let's go. This has been sponsored by myself, Kimberly Reed, the Fear Slayer, moving you from where you are to where you want to be, and my friend Robert Alexander at liferhythms.us. Robert and I will be collaborating on the audio guide to make the daily intention of love and peace to Japan and the Pacific Ocean even easier than doing it by yourself. We'll be there right with you, and it's going to be linked in the YouTube description of this video, so check out below and find that so that you can listen to it every day at the same time. Let's do this. We can do it. Together, we can make a difference. So remember to share. Take care. Be at peace. Namaste.